Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq, coming to you live from the Singapore Fintech Festival. Joining me for this segment, we have Joanne Ng. She's the Innovation Lead at SGX Group, here to discuss the future of exchanges. Joanne, it's great to see you again. Welcome back to TradeTalks.
Yes, thank you for having me today, Jill.
You got it. What are some of the current trends and challenges in the exchange industry, and how do you think innovation can be leveraged to address them?
Actually, it's an interesting spot for an exchange at this period of time, as we start to see a lot more emerging technologies coming into play. So the challenges that we currently see so far are usually more towards more vendors providing alternative trading platforms. So those are usually very interesting competition for us. Other than that, we start to see a growing demand for better quality services as well as data and analytics. And the last part was probably going to be more on the evolving regulations. We always have to find a way to meet these compliance needs. Yeah.
What are some of the latest or exciting initiatives that you are working on or planning to launch?
As an innovation lead, it's actually a pretty fun place to be in at the moment. So usually we categorize our innovation initiatives into three categories. The first one is where we look into external engagements. So this is how we actually learn, not just within the exchange itself, but also from the industry. What are the latest trends, what are the latest technologies that we can reuse it or reflect on it to build it back to the exchange operations. So I think in one of the recent working groups that we have been in with Standard Chartered Bank as well as Patio, we look at the whole entire problem statement of how can we make the efficiency of security and cash settlement work well together. The reason why we look into this problem is because there are a lot of intermediaries in between that is involved in the whole entire value chain. And we start to see a lot of costs and delays incurred over there. So with the looks into a new emerging technology solution, we might be able to see a better approach around that. So those are more of our external engagement. So the second bucket where we look at is more on internal engagement. In SGX Group itself, we always have our people at heart. And in innovation, even though it starts with an I, it does not end with an I. So we always need to work well as a team. And in order to do that, we do have to train and develop our employees throughout the SGX Group itself. So for that, we actually have two upcoming initiatives. So the first one we have started on is to implement some of the AI-enabled toolings to help our employees to really understand what artificial intelligence is about and how can it help back into their daily workflows. The second one that we're looking at is to see how can we kind of engage our staff and employees to understand a bit more about blockchain technology. So blockchain technology alone is not about just working in-house alone. It's also how can we engage the market as an ecosystem. But at the moment, our use case that we're looking at is more internal and a more safer environment for our employees to actually understand what this technology is all about. So the third piece we have in alignment to our trust, service, passion as the core values of SGX is our service part. So we are not forgetting all the other ecosystem players and even our beneficiaries that SGX Group has adopted. So with the use of technology, we're trying to see whether we can use technology for good and to prove people that technology is just not about business, but it's also to enable the whole entire ecosystem and community to really have a better future. So for that front, I think usually we have the annual SGX Bull Charge, and for last year and this year, innovation team was the lead for our department, technology department. So we worked with AWS this year to create a generative AI user platform for our beneficiaries as well as our employees to get their hands dirty, to understand how do you generate art pieces using command prompts. And that was a very interesting, insightful thing for them, because what we realized is anyone, as long as there's an environment with the right environment and the right tooling, anyone can actually create art pieces out of the blue. So that was a pretty cool initiative over there.
Yeah, that does sound exciting. And you had mentioned before that there are employee development initiatives. How do you foster culture of innovation at SGX Group?
Yes, so usually for innovation, as the lead of innovation, I usually wear two hats. It's not just about use cases, implementing, deploying, but it's also to relook at the whole entire culture of SGX Group itself. So when we look at this, we always start with the growth mindset. We're actively promoting the growth mindset throughout not just technology, but the whole entire SGX Group. And with that, we implemented some of the structured trainings, open discussion forums to let employees have a taste of like what other potential solutions can be out there, or what other potential approach that can be out there that can help with their day-to-day work processes. So that's the mindset. The next thing is we also try to build up an environment that is safe enough, or at least we allow the employees to have trust in us to really play around with the different toolings that are in the industry. So as mentioned just now, we had the AI-enabled tool environment. We have just recently started out with our AI chatbot. So that, although it's a very simple and basic tool, but what we realize is a lot of our employees and colleagues, they do have a lot of great ideas in terms of how can they improve on their day-to-day processes. So the third piece is where we look into more of the community itself. So besides just basically everything about technology, we do look into the cultural piece and the diversity piece. So recently I've also joined a group that is more a volunteer group. It's called the Self-Empowerment Team. That is when we look beyond just technology. We actually look at the whole SGX Group and to see how can we tap on the power of diversity and equity to help the whole entire SGX exchange itself to grow to a better future. Yeah.
All right, Joanne, great to catch up with you as always. Thanks for joining us on
Thank you.
Trade Talks. And thanks for joining me from Singapore. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.